Welcome back to the scientific writing class. Today's class will be about time and process management. So during the last class, I put these two questions to the class and said, please, everything what comes up, put it in the chat. And these are the questions. What is the main obstacles for you when needing to write? And what is the most common barrier for your time management process? So all these keywords were put into the chat, and I made a cloud out of it, a word cloud. And you might recognize that some of these words also would be part of your not writing or problems to have to write. For example, being overwhelmed, being too perfectionistic, being distracted. There's a lot of distraction in here, having a smartphone, for example, or a deadline. So one of them said, okay, my flat gets tidier with every time when I approach a deadline. So these are just human things that we are affected by, and thus I would like to give you some ideas about how to deal with some of them. So these are the themes that we are talking about: planning, long-term and short-term, manage expectation and perfectionism, productivity and procrastination, scheduling, writing, and your motivation. For the planning, here's a rough outline of how much time you need to consider for your masters. It takes about 4 to 6 months. And the suggestion is, if you do make a time schedule, count backwards. So make an estimate of time you needed for reading, data collection, analysis, writing, editing. So it's important to break down this big task into smaller tasks. And then update that longer term plan regularly, but not every week. But sometimes you have to correct for it. Make a rough time frame, and you have to include the breaks, the holidays and sicknesses. We often forget about it. It's very important. And always try to be realistic. Then for the short-term goals, set goals for the day, week, month, write the goals down, revise when needed, and share the plans and goals with the friend colleagues. I think that's very important because you might have a different view on your time management plan than, for example, your best friend or so, your partner. Then manage your expectations and perfectionism. You should set expectations in terms of your results. What kind of grade do you aim for? What is the main purpose for you in writing this project? How much time are you willing to put into this compared to the other priorities in your life? So be realistic and be honest to yourself. You should communicate this also to your supervisor or to your co-authors. You should align expectations. You talk with friends again, or colleagues or partners who've done this already, to share experiences. And again, you should be realistic. Then productivity and procrastination. There's the purposeful procrastination. For example, if you're reading something instead of writing, or if you're checking information, editing references, or are there useful tasks that go into your thesis, for example. If you write an application abstract for something else. Then there's the distractive procrastination, administrative tasks. You will know this: emails or cleaning or coffee making or whatever. So this is distractive. And for this, I suggest to you that you do the exercises time boxing. So this is where you schedule a limited period of time for doing menial tasks. So you set this time apart, you define your task, and you do nothing else during those 10 minutes or so. And you should do it with friends, colleagues, in a collective atmosphere if you have problems doing it by yourself. Then scheduling writing. Don't postpone the writing until last minute. Remember, reading entails writing, hypothesis making entails writing, analysis entails writing. So all of it entails writing, which takes work. And then there's a difference between quantitative and qualitative work, but quantitative analysis also entails writing. So schedule periods of writing in between other tasks. For example, write notes into actual paragraphs for introduction and background. And remember the citations. So again, you need to account for all of this in terms of your time budget. Schedule and writing, find a structure that works for you. This is personally to you. You could, for example, schedule a whole week to write, go somewhere else and completely be gone. Schedule 2 days per week to write a little every day. When I did my PhD thesis, I made myself write at least 1 page every day, and I didn't leave the house before I had written this page. And sometimes this page was done very fast, but sometimes it took a long time. Writing entails reading, so take out open key papers needed for writing. a particular section, take out open notes needed for a particular section. Don't open it all. This will be overwhelming for you probably. Accept and expect your writing goals to be too ambitious. Redo them, don't despair. Then your motivation. You should set goals and also reward yourself. Stop when you've reached the day's goal. Enjoy and relax. Find a writing buddy or group. For motivation, that helps often a lot. Communicate goals with each other. Circulate drafts. Might seem like waste, but it's not. Because you will learn by reading and reviewing other works about your own work. It is really a good way to learn. And exercises, the time boxes, as I discussed before or mentioned to you before, take this time, take 10 minutes, whatever, assign the task, only do that task, turn everything off, and finish this task basically. Also the other time boxing exercise is the quick read, where we have a limited amount of time to go through paper and then digest the information in a way that it will be contained in our brain. So this is the quick read method. For all of these, you have to join forces, turn off the internet, set limited time frame for writing and reading, and go. And after it's done, reward yourself. Yeah, some final notes about this class. So this is a comic again by Tom Gold, and the reader and the writer are here on one table, and she says, the premise of your paper is flawed, the data is suspect, and the conclusions are dangerous. On the plus side, the language is so completely impenetrable that nobody will ever notice. So I hope in this class you will not do this, or you not end up like this, but you will have a nice shining paper that will be the outcome of this class.